Welcome to this product presentation by Core Security Technologies of Core Impact version 4.0. The goal of this presentation is to show you a few of the features within Core Impact 4.0. For the purposes of this demonstration, I have Core Impact, a software package, installed on my PC. I have already scanned through a firewall and discovered a web server that I can see over ports 80 and 443. The goal of this presentation is to compromise a vulnerability on that server and then show how through my control of that machine I'm able to pivot and scan around and find other machines on the same network as that web server. Through this method, I can take full control of the DMZ. The screen you see in front of you is the Core Impact console. I've already discovered and identified the web server. I'm now going to move on to the attack and penetration phase of the penetration test. With Core Impact's rapid penetration test, the 6 steps of a penetration test are broken down into their basic elements, which allows me to quickly and easily perform all parts of this penetration test. The attack and penetration wizard I have just run is now running through a list of attacks targeting that Linux web server. It will attack this server with each attack once and then report back to me when it successfully exploits a vulnerability on this server. The attack and penetration module has finished and has reported back its status in the executed module info window on the right-hand side. I've just highlighted the text that shows us the successful exploit. This server has been found vulnerable to an SSL exploit. In the entity view, we can now see the level 0 agent we've been able to deploy onto this server. This level 0 agent is a tiny piece of code that runs inside the memory space of whatever application we have just compromised. By having this agent on the server, I can now interact with this machine. I can open a shell or browse files locally on that machine. I can also set my agent as source. When I tell Core Impact to set that agent as source, any module that I run will now run from this agent and not from my machine. I do not need to copy up a rootkit to this machine or copy any of my tools to this server in order to pivot on this machine. Simply by setting as source, I'm able to pivot my base from this machine, and we can see now I'm scanning the machines around the web server, and I've found 2 other machines inside that DMZ. If I wish, I can repeat step 2 against these machines, attack and penetration, or I can choose to go into the advanced view, open up my exploits folder, and manually choose the exploits I'd like to run against these machines myself. I can choose to pick an exploit out and simply drag and drop that exploit onto the target machine. When I click OK, this attack runs from the compromised machine, targeting the target machine. From the outside of the network, I am just orchestrating these attacks. We can see we have been successful. The executed module info window again tells us that the attack was successful, and we can see that level 0 agent now running under the .22 Windows 2000 Service Pack 4 machine. Again, I can right-click on the agent, and I can interact with this machine. If I select Browse Files, a file browser is opened. I can now browse around the file structure of this Windows machine. Here we can see the contents of the cwinnt directory. I can browse around this directory, find the repair folder. Inside the repair folder is the backup copy of the SAM database. If I right-click on this file, I get a download option. Choosing this download option allows me to copy this file directly to my desktop. I do not need to copy this file to the in-between machine, the proxy machine, where my source agent is running on. That file has been copied directly back to my machine. If I wish to run an IIS exploit, I can search and pull back all of the IIS exploits. Picking one to run is as simple as selecting it and dropping it on the machine I'd like to attack. When I click OK, again, this source agent on the Linux machine is now attacking the second Windows 2000 machine. We can see that that exploit has been successful, and we have an agent now running on that machine. The search I used to find that exploit was by name or partial name of the exploit. I can also search by the CVE number. I can bring back a list of attacks for a certain system or the list of exploits for a certain service. This has been a very brief introduction to some of the features of Core Impact 4.0. If you'd like more information about Impact, please contact